stage 6 load shedding for 4 hours. My vehicle was on 66% when I parked it in the garage last night.
Sitting now with George Mienie. He is AutoTrader CEO. George, appreciate the early morning time. One of the issues with EVs, electric vehicles in South Africa, is that they are imported. We don't make any locally, and hence import duty. What is the current import duty on imported cars?
Good morning, Simon, and thank you for having me. So the current import duty is 25%. But that in and of itself isn't the major challenge. The major challenge is, beside it being high, it is 7%.
So you're saying, so actually the EVs actually come in at a higher rate than an ICE, an internal combustion engine?
Correct, by about 7 percentage points. So that's quite a big difference. Besides the actual 25% being high, it is 7 percentage points higher than an ICE vehicle.
What's the logic for that? I mean, aside from the fact that, frankly, EVs should be cheaper because they're good for the environment, I mean, governments obviously sat down and decided to penalize. Have they given ideas as to why?
I don't think it's penalizing an electric vehicle for the sake of penalizing an electric vehicle. That's not the point. I think it falls into a slightly different category when it comes to imports because it doesn't have an engine, so it might not be looked at as a car per se. So that could be some of the reason, but that's the only import tax we pay on electric vehicles or other vehicles for that matter. We pay sometimes as high as 40 to 50% more on importing a vehicle, especially if you don't import a vehicle through the correct channels and you import it directly from the manufacturer. You could be paying 50% more for your vehicle than you would normally if it's manufactured in the country, and that is for me that is a recipe for an aging ICE fleet in South Africa.
Yeah, I take your point on that, and of course, I mean the key thing is that we want EVs to start happening. When we chatted last time, you said that certainly, I mean, for example, range anxiety, we're getting charging stations out there, but I mean, I'm not sure that we're ever going to be producing them locally. We produce vehicles, but they're all ICE engines.
Yes, we do produce locally, and they're all ICE engines, but there is light at the end of the tunnel because I spoke to Mercedes-Benz the other day, and they've actually retooled all of their plants to be able to produce not only ICE vehicles but also hybrids because there's a demand for exporting hybrids. Now, they haven't moved to full battery electric yet, but there is a study in Europe where converting a plant to an electric vehicle plant isn't a massive leap, and so I think it's possible. I mean, I'm not the expert there; this is way above my head. But I think it is possible. We've just got to begin taking the steps. Part of the solution is actually executing, and I think the manufacturers are executing. Government just needs to come to the party with government policy, lowering taxes. Look at Australia. Australia has just made the move.
A quick last question. Everyone listening I mean, many folks out there are currently suffering load shedding. I think that's why your line is probably bad. I mean, does it practically work? You have an EV. I mean, are you practically able to keep it charged, even notwithstanding the Eskom challenges?
So that's another good question, Simon. And last night, I, like everybody else, went through stage 6 load shedding for 4 hours. My vehicle was on 66% when I parked it in the garage last night. I plugged it in. Notwithstanding load shedding, I've woken up this morning and my car is on 95%. So it is possible, even with stage 6 load shedding, to charge your vehicle. And the reason is because it starts charging the moment the electricity comes back on, and that's what happened last night. There was really only 4 hours of load shedding. If we get to 8 hours of load shedding, well, that might be a different story. But at the moment, at 4 hours, it's very possible to own an EV.
Yeah, okay, I'll take your point. And I think you talk about 6 or 8. Let's stop it at 4 hours. And 95 is plenty. We'll leave it there. George Mienie, AutoTrader CEO. Appreciate the early morning.